Welcome to the Software People Stories. I'm Shiv.
I'm Chitra.
And I'm Gayatri.
We bring you interesting, untold stories of people
Associated with the creation
or consumption of software-based solutions.
You'll hear stories of what worked
and sometimes what didn't.
You will also hear very personal experiences
and insights that would trigger your thoughts
and inspire you to do even greater things.
Before we jump into today's conversation, a special thanks to PM Power Consulting for encouraging and supporting this show right from the start. With over 1,000 person-years of collective experience, PM Power has helped many organizations, teams, and individuals chart out their own journeys of excellence and make progress. Thank you, PM Power. Now, let's move to today's episode.
Today, I had a fantastic conversation that I want to share about Madhavan Jagannathan. He's my college friend from Great Lakes Institute of Management. He's got a multi-pronged career, right, in software, then in networking or hardware portion of it, and then being in the trading or a quantitative portion of it. And today, he's talking more about his learning from all these careers. And further, he covers how he's continuing to stay networked as well as continuing deeper in the technology and learning, and how he's thinking about AI today and the education field. Listen on. Hi, Madhavan. So happy to have you. Welcome to the Software People Stories.
Hey, Gayatri. Thanks for having me. I've actually gone through the list of other participants in this show, and they seem to have accomplished a lot. So I'm kind of surprised that I got an invite from you, and let's see where this goes.
Madhavan, I know you as Maddy. I know you are extremely humble. I have learned quite a bit from you. So how do you introduce yourself, Maddy?
I am a person with multiple interests, so that would be an one-liner for me. But some of my interests are in technology, generally the world, which I try to understand through science and then through the financial markets. So I'm somebody who is very deeply curious about many things, and whenever there's an opportunity, I try and take my chances sometimes.
Very nicely put. So I want to know, what is the early memories of software? I know you and I started around the same time in the software, right, while you took the more harder space of hardware and more deeper tech. So what was your early memories of software, Maddy?
So I will go back to my even right after my schooling, I think I was always drawn towards something to do with science and not even technology, pure science, that's why I took an undergraduate degree in physics, because it helped me understand a lot about the physical world we lived in, right? So I took that route, and also partly because I didn't get in any of the leading engineering colleges at that point of time. So I thought, I would do this. And it was, I really enjoyed it. And I was setting myself up for something in a post-graduation in pure science. I even got admitted in some of the leading institutes at the time, or even currently, which is IIT Kanpur and IIT Madras, for doing postgraduate in physics. Simultaneously, I also got an admission from the Madras Institute of Technology for instrumentation. At that time, Madras Institute of Technology needed a graduate degree in undergraduate degree in basic sciences, right? So I took up that offer because it was more pragmatic, and you will get a job, which was a big deal at that time. So maybe a part of me regrets that decision to this day. of not following pure sciences. But that is when I did, and then I went on to do the instrumentation degree in Madras Institute of Technology. All right. So even back then, there was two camps within the campus. One is which said, "Hey, we'll go into software," and it was just starting up. The thing, right? Getting your Infosys and getting into Infi was a big thing at that point of time. You had to solve puzzles and all those things. Uh, I was more in the camp of, I'll go into a process industry, which means go into oil and natural gas, refineries. Maybe the distributed control systems would be as close to software as we could actually think of. So that was my path, and so software was not in the plans at all, right? And I didn't do anything which would suggest that I would go into software, which means I didn't take up any programming courses. I didn't skill myself in it at all, right? And then the campus interviews happened, and it turned out that there was some shortage in people who had to sit for HCL Technologies. So I sat through it. I got an interview call. I I went there, uh, thinking I should not get it, right? So because once you get into it, you cannot go into process industry again, right? So I went there. Maybe they took it as some sign of confidence because I didn't care about the outcome. They offered me a job, so that's how my start with uh, software was. So something which I didn't really plan for it, right? So it was a pure turn of chance, and then and it was a lucky break because I got into one of the best divisions which could be at that point of time, which was the HCL Cisco division, which was really booming with techies and very very smart people. And I to this day I consider it very very fortunate to be in that kind of a environment and having that kind of a start, and also having a lot of resources around me because internet was rationed at that time. You would know, right? So some companies had 1 hour of internet and those kind, or no internet at all, and we had it 24/7. So for someone like me who loved to browse through books in libraries and all those things, it threw up. I was overwhelmed with information at that point of time, right? So that is my early memory. It's a pure lucky or unlucky break, as you would want to see it into. That is my early memory of software.
Nice. And it so happens that I was working with Cisco for about 5 years, from 2000 to 2004. So starting from
Okay.
2000.
So it's almost the same time. It's almost the same
Same time, right? So, and Cisco also has that innovation, and it talks about IoT right at that point in time, Internet of Everything, and
time. Right.
creating that sort of a buzz to say how each person is going to have at least 6 or 8 devices on you at any point in
Right.
time,
Right.
which is
Right.
sort of very amazingly ambitious. So,
Right.
how did you sort of tune yourself into this new reality, Maddy, at that point in time, in terms of saying, did you immediately accept that, yeah, I've got this and I'm liking where I am, or did it take some change out of that?
Okay, actually, I think the first 2 years I was, yeah, I was fascinated by what I was seeing at that point of time. I did what I had to do at work, but I wouldn't deny that for the first 2 years I was kind of trying to see if I can get back into the process industry, and then I thought if you look at it pragmatically, it was not a great thing monetarily at that point of time. Going to a process industry, their lifestyle, and by then I started getting feedback on how people are faring. Who, I, when we when we get together for a party or something like that, we had people from both the industry, and they would complain and I would complain, and my complaints seem to be far lesser than their complaints. So I think, and HCL was a fun place. It was like smart people all around. Really nothing to complain except for my internal work. So I kind of that settled down, and once it settled down, and I started engaging with thing, I got promoted easily. Also, I started leading a team of 10 even at that time, because things that happen in service industry, right? It's not something special. It was a natural progression. It was a good product. So I kind of it was my domain then was again not by design. I got put into the network management applications. So that was a domain for a long time, right? For about 5 years, I did various network management applications. Because you are in network management application, you get a broad understanding of various technologies which it is managing, right? Right from security, switching, routing, at a very broad level, right? And that suited me because I like the depth at that point of time, and even now.
Fantastic. And what led you take the next? I know you worked with Adobe and you moved on to a beautiful career in EMC. What made you
Right.
take that shift?
I think
Was that process engineering or was it
uh,
something else?
it was like if I have to look back and say, maybe my thing about having to have something novel, some novelty, right? So you could say that I got a little bored doing the once you understand what was happening, you got a little bored, right? So I wanted to see what was outside networking, and also partly I didn't realize how good the field that the field that I already had that lucky break in, which is networking. I didn't really realize that, right? So I went out, and Adobe had only desktop products at that point of time, right? So they were starting their first suites of all the software services, not even services, right? Software kind of products, right? I got into a product which were kind of doing all the forms and all those digitization, this was all pre-Macromedia acquisition, right? So I went there, and it was in Noida. It was a big shift for me because I am from Chennai and it was Noida. I knew a little bit of Hindi. That's not a problem. So I went there, and again, very very smart people. People all around you are from the best of the best colleges. And they provided some great trainings, orientation, all those things, and that is when for me, I really started. It was just 1 year, but the impact that it had on me to this day is I understood the power of software, right? So where it was actually going, and what its power was, right? And once you start engaging at that level, right? So you kind of at least that the thing that you want to go back to process industry goes for a toss, right? You may at some point want to do something for the process industry in software, but it goes.
In fact, when you're talking about process and in that industry, right, one of the major advantages of Dell is their process effectiveness. And they talk about
Right.
how their whole innovation is around how do you make your, right from inventory to how their quality processes, everything is top class. And that's the firm
Right.
that you joined inadvertently through EMC, right?
No, actually, I was associated with with EMC in two ways. One is like, first, after my thing with Adobe, I went to after again I came back to Bangalore. It was a startup, and then that also was a very short stint. And then I went into EMC. Right, it was not acquired by Dell at that point of time. So EMC was equally good in the sense they were hardcore in what they did, and it was a product that I went to was a management product. How I got to Dell was after EMC. I had taken a break, which I've taken many times, as you know. And it was while I was in EMC at that point, this was pre-Dell acquired EMC. That is when I did the exec MBA, and we all met, and that's our time with her. Then after that, after that break, armed with the MBA, when I was getting back into the industry, Dell in Chennai had a opening in their hosted networks, and that is when I went in. And you're right, in the sense, I had an amazing career there for about 7 years, which is the longest that I've ever been in a company. And they were all process focused, and their innovation is at a different level, right? In the sense, very, very based innovation. In the sense, it's not like Cisco was completely different that way, right? They'll make new products and all those things. Here from our MBA days, we can say that they were a fast follower, right? Which means some innovation happens, they make sure that, it is kind of cost engineered and make sure that it's profitable and all those things. And they were talking about the 2 billion, whatever big number, I don't remember, of the data center market and all that even back then. It was amazing. And EMC got acquired after I kind of time. Right? So EMC wouldn't leave me.
Any interesting stories there in terms of when you were at Dell? Because when I look at your journey in terms of starting with software, wanting to be in process, and ending up being in one of the highly process-oriented firm that there is. Any interesting stories or realizations that you had in when you were at Dell or EMC thereof?
Yeah, so again, I just wanted to give one clarification, which is
Sure.
when I said process, it was more of the chemical process control and those kind of process industry.
Okay, understood. Okay.
Maybe it's colloquially, yeah, but I did get a lot of interest in the process and quality process and all those things, even while I was at EMC, where they made us all do the Six Sigma yellow belt, and in fact I took it a notch higher and I did a green belt and all those things. So process was always my thing, right? And even whether the reason it was called chemical process control is because you had a fixed kind of a linear kind of a transformations, right, from one raw material to what was the output. So again, you're right, Dell had that kind of a process control, and they did bring in a lot of it in the software process as well. But then my division was more acquired division at that point of time, right? So we operated a little bit like a startup, and it had its own set of processes. You wouldn't associate that with what Dell is, but it was effective nevertheless, right?
Okay. Oh, when you said process, I automatically jumped to the business process innovation that
right.
you're all familiar with, and not necessarily the chemical processes and everything. So when you look at your after that you took a break or sort of immersion into trading, right? So how did you plan for that, Maddy? I know so many people whom I speak to, they say, okay, I want to get into trading, I want to do this. So several conversations I've had in terms of the aspiration of individuals, and I'm certain that if not thousands, hundreds of people who are listening to this conversation are doing it in some shape or form. From a very conservative background, how did you decide to step into the world of trading, and what sort of an learning that you had to go through?
So again, that was a culmination, I would say, and it started with even my if you see even during my school days, right? I used to read the newspaper and stuff, right? This one which is very, very intriguing, one page which was very intriguing, is it would simply have print of all the company names and some number next to it, right? I could never gather how it was derived or whatever. So my fascination with the market started at that point of time, though nobody in my house or anybody, were kind of interested or had any inclination towards that, right? And then in HCL, they gave ESOPs at that point of time, and that was our first introduction to DMAT, as it would have been for you as well, right? In courses and stuff like that. So that was my first introduction to possessing real stock and in DMAT and all those things. But I always considered myself as a long-term investor. I didn't trade during the day and all those things. So, and like I said, internet was there. So I started reading up more on investment. How do you do investment? How do you pick stocks and all those things? So I started getting interested there. So it was cooking for a long time, right? So, but I've read some serious books like The Intelligent Investor and whatever Warren Buffett says, so something like that, right? So it was slowly building up, right? So, and then when we were doing MBA, right, there was the statistics class, and Professor PKV, I think. So he was taking a class, and he said something like, people are doing it wrong, and they should just. He was looking at some correlating thing or some statistical dispersion, and saying, hey, you just have to buy here and sell here, and you make money, and people are. He was saying it as a kind of a joke, right? So I think that was the seed of trading to me, right? So to take trading really seriously. Otherwise, I thought it was kind of a bogus kind of a thing, right? I used to watch CNBC. In fact, CNBC is the only channel I used to watch for more than 5 or 6 years, right? So that was the only channel I used to watch. There was nothing else that I used to watch.
Very interesting.
Right? Yeah. So on Diwali, everyone will want to watch other things. I will watch the Muhurat trading at that point of time. Right? Then I got there was a course which they started advertising, right? By the end of 7th year, I get this kind of feeling that maybe I have to do something. I have to look at some alternate and things like that. I took up this course, and this course was really well run. They were running their own hedge fund, and they were till then trading was a very, very secretive profession. People are actually recruited from one of the top colleges, and only they know about it, right? So you don't get to really hear too much about it, right? That was a time when a lot of openness was starting to come about in how trading actually happens, and they had put a course around that, right? So I took up this course. I fancied myself as a one trader. You can call whatever you want, right, when you are independent. In fact, that gave a lot of. So you asked me, how do you prepare for it, right? So I would think there are three dimensions, right? So one is your general quantitative background, your math ability, interest for statistics, and all those things. The second part is technology, which is coding, Python, basically Python, data science, so whatever is needed, technology needed for data science stuff. The third is the market itself, right? How market behaves, the market microstructure. So a lot of these things. So you have to actually synthesize all three. Only then you will get a basic thing. Right. So there are trading firms. That's why people operate in teams. Trading firms, which you have technologists, you have kind of statisticians, and then you have people who come from the markets who know. Then they work as a team and do it. But independent quant, you have to do the synthesis by yourself. So this is the background which is needed for starting a trading career. Right. So if you are from a technology background, I'm sure whoever is hiring you in the trading firm is going to take your tech skills and apply it whatever is good, because you have high frequency trading, which means latency is the key. And we coming from Cisco and all those things, how latency can affect a lot of other applications. But HFT is where, it's like the Formula One of, automobiles, right?
I often wonder what quantum computing is going to, the recent story about Google's successful piloting in quantum computing. I often wonder what is going to happen with quantum computing over trading and HFTs or model.
I heard HSBC or somebody was actually already trying this one on the trying to see how quantum computing is being used in HFTs.
It's an exciting field. Personally, as a investor, as well as a, I personally don't trade, but I have, closely watched the space, I should say, as a angel investor, as well as a, person who's very, very keen on how the global markets work. Because providing financial solutions or technology solutions, you're associated with the billions of dollars that go through your system, right? It gives you a thrill that as if that money is partly owned by you. But of course, you own nothing. So you, after this, even today you do trading and you are an investor, you continue to stay in this space, right? I know you continue to do angel investment as well as institutional investment. How I know you had a stint in VMware, but what is making you stay in the space right now, Madhavan?
It is like asking a gamer. I'm not a gamer. It's like asking a gamer why you are connected with gaming, right? I used to follow the financial markets like that, and when you put some money in it, you kind of understand it a little more deeper because you are emotionally connected to it at that point of time. You can see depending on the market goes up or down, or whether your position, I shouldn't even say market goes up, whether your position goes up or down, you'll see your emotional swings and all those things. And that's why you should never trade when you are actually working, or day trade, right? When you are working or whatever, because, it will kind of lose focus. So for me, it is that kind of a thing, and it teaches you a lot. I would say at various levels, you follow news with a purpose, right? Early for you, news is just news, right? Now you actually, the president of United States says something. Is it going? Am I going to go bankrupt tomorrow or not? Right. So that is a kind of association that you kind of make for every news. I'm just taking an extreme. So when I started doing it the first time when I was independent, right, the COVID really hit me severely. I didn't contract COVID, but it kind of there was a huge drawdown to my positions at that point, and it gave me a lot of learnings at that point of time. Why I'm not cut out to be managing others' money is one of that insight, right? That is the soft part of it. Hard part also, right? How you do the position management and all those, though you know it theoretically, that was really the stress test, right? And a lot of firms went bankrupt at that point of time. Being at that situation there gives you a different level of insight.
Fantastic. I love this part of you in terms of, trading, being able to show your scars. Not too many people actually talk about, while I know in derivatives market, the most money is being made only by 20% of the people. But it's also exciting to be part of the system, so to speak, right? I think, and it teaches you a lot more than finance. It teaches you diligence. It teaches in terms of statistics. Look at your own portfolio in a different way, and so on and so forth.
Absolutely.
So what excites you, Maddy? I know we are in the last few minutes. I wanted to understand what you've got a very, stellar career in terms of multi-pronged career in terms of software. You've been in the hardware in her space. You've also done independent trading and institutional trading, as well angel investment, as well as staying connected with the corporate side of things. So what are the few things that you look forward to if you say, let's say, take the next 10 years?
So I don't know. 10 years is a long time, and you will see that I don't stay in any one position for a long time. So I don't know. Maybe I stay, right. But yeah, what I'm doing currently is I have A and B go a long time back actually, right? It's not like it is just after OpenAI, ChatGPT or something. I kind of on and off gone there, and then I realized okay, nothing to do. That's why the Six Sigma and other connect as well, right? So all that kind of goes a long way. So I'm trying to understand a little bit more, even though it kind of currently the developments are overwhelming, right? Which is happening in AI is overwhelming. So I at least try and keep pace with it, right? As a user, how the infrastructure is coping up with it. That is the other thing, and also a little bit of foundational models. And luckily, I have my some of the underpinnings of the foundation models and all those things. I'm pretty solid on, in the sense the probability theory or calculus or things like that. I shouldn't have said solid. At least I have a good grounding to enough to understand, right? So I still am kind of figuring out what needs to be done in this space, right? But I think the application space is very good. It's going to change a lot of things. So I'm very interested there. In fact, the AI is getting in the kind of used a lot in trading nowadays, right? So uh, I'm trying upskilling myself to it, because this is a data-rich field. The reason I picked AI in trading is to understand AI, right? And trading is a data-rich field, right? So I'm not going to be operating in a vacuum then. Right? So that's what is keeping me busy nowadays. Also, I want to be connected in the entrepreneurship circuit, in the startup circuit, and so that is something that I look forward to. I've been telling a lot about being educator, teaching, or something like that. I've not lifted a finger so far on that. Right, not done anything concrete. If if you ask for a 10-year thing, I hope that I at least do something there.
Fantastic. You're saying AI, trading or finance and education as a three possible futures, or a
Yeah.
mixer
Trading I
of
will
that.
do forever. Yeah, trading I will do forever. It is not for it's purely for me,
Correct.
right? I may teach trading, but I may teach other things as well.
Other things
So
also.
I don't know. I don't know.
Okay, okay. This is awesome conversation, Maddy. See, many people know many of this conversation are very deterministic. When I say
Right.
deterministic, they're very, very clear, saying that this is what it is. But the world is like this, right? Today, I mean, we couldn't have imagined how much of access we've had. Right, I can still hear John Chambers telling Internet of Everything, and it has actually moved so much that we have at least 8 or 9 if not sentient beings which has IP address on itself, right? IP address or MAC address on it. So I think the world is about to change. And with all your learning so far, no, is there any advice that you would like to share? I'm certain that the new age soft engineers would like this kind of a multi-pronged interest. That is what will keep them interested as well as excited in their field of choice. So what are the few advices that you will give?
So first advice is I think I picked this from Scott Adams. Never take an advice from a cartoonist, he says, right? So something like that. So I would say do not take any advice very serious, right? So that is the first advice that I would give. At the same time, do not dismiss it off completely, right? There are advice which people have given long back. Of course, advice is generally we don't go and ask for advice, right? Advice are given free, and when you don't ask for it, right? That's when people get irritated. They've given long back in passing, which you realize is was very good advice later. Right. So park that advice and adapt it when you get it. Right. So one thing I'll tell you what has worked for me. What has worked for me is just following my curiosity wherever it takes. So that is one thing. So which means that I tend to learn a lot. I can more than a lot. I keep learning on adjacent fields. Whatever, let's say networking, then something to the left of networking, right of networking, things like that. So that is one thing, and it can take you to multiple places. So keep learning, and maybe develop an understanding of how learning works itself, right? Because today the changes are going really, really fast, right? So the only thing that can actually keep up is that your ability to learn. So that is one thing. So the other thing which has really worked for me is networking, not the data networking that I said, but the people networking that you kind of maintain. And each time I went out of the industry and came back, it was I go back to the networks that we've developed during the professional career, right? So and when we studied the MBA, remember Professor Bala saying, he says networking is not about saying hi and bye and during exchanging greetings. That's not what it is, right? It's about giving some value to the other person, all right? So try and give value to the other person while you're at work, all right? So that way you can expand your networks, and you can maybe that will help you at some point of time. And each time I've come back into the industry looking for this one, it's the network which has really helped me, right? So those are the two major things that I would say. I think that covers almost everything that I'm. And go deep into whatever your interests are. You can park it for some time, but keep coming back to it.
Okay.
Right.
Wonderful. It's like a world is an ocean, and stay curious, stay networked with people, and they will help you.
Yeah.
This is an awesome conversation, Maddy. Thank you. I know you are very hesitant to share this. I've enjoyed this conversation. I hope our listeners do too. And thank you for your time today.
Sure. Absolutely enjoyed it as well. Thank you.
We thank Siddharth for the music and Anita for promoting the Software People Stories.
If you like this episode,
Please subscribe on your favorite podcast client.
And spread the word in your network.
if you'd like to share your story,
Contact us at podcasts@pm-powerconsulting.com.